The Yankees have discussed a potential reunion with closer Devin Williams, according to Ken Rosenthal of The Athletic. The right-hander had his ups and downs throughout the 2025 season and didn't live up to the billing the Yankees had for him when they traded for him over the offseason, but the Yankees could be interested in bringing him back after an excellent finish to his 2025 campaign. My name is Ryan Garcia. This is Fireside Yankees, and today we're going to discuss whether the Yankees should or should not bring back Devin Williams, break down Williams' profile, whether we should expect a big regression positively from him in 2026, or if he's someone who should just get out of the Yankees in New York and go somewhere else. What is the conclusion? What should the Yankees do here? Again, if you like this kind of content, make sure you like and subscribe. We'd greatly appreciate your support. And let's just get straight into this video. Devin Williams had a 4.79 ERA and a 2.68 FIP. He struck out 34.7% of batters faced, walked 9.7% of them. He allowed 5 home runs this year. That was tied for the most in his entire career. That was with 2021. He had a pretty up and down year, to say the very least. There were moments where the Yankee fan could not trust him. There were moments where he was absolutely dominant. Overall, was more of a disappointment than I think people wanted him to be. He just wasn't that guy for the Yankees for most of the year, and if he pitched to his normal standards, he probably ends up helping the Yankees win the division. So there's a lot of messiness here. I think that Yankee fans would be I would be almost, this would be a dishonest video, if not to mention how just bad this year was from a relative to expectation standpoint. But I do think it's important to note that's in terms of results, in terms of in-game impact, not in terms of long-term viability in the conversation of how did he look under the hood. The strikeout rate was great. He struck out nearly 35% of batters faced. It is a step back from previous years, but he still had big swing and miss stuff. His strikeout to walk percentage was still elite at 25.1%. His FIP, his expected FIP, all these numbers were top 20 reliever kind of numbers. And it felt like Williams didn't have his stuff early on and didn't have his command early on and finally found it down the stretch. But if the Yankees can get a comfortable Devin Williams on their ball club for the 2026 season, I think this bullpen would be one of the best in all of baseball. With David Bednar and Devin Williams, you're just going to get so many swings and misses, so many strikeouts, so many overpowering pitches. It's going to be really hard for teams to score runs off of that duo. And I do think with the Yankees and any conversation about can a guy handle New York or not, I think Devin Williams proved he can. I think Devin Williams proved that he was just not pitching well earlier in the year, and he turned that around as the season went on. He got better. His stuff improved. His ability to generate strikeouts down the stretch was truly incredible. He became a rock in the Yankee bullpen over the final month and a half of the year, and ultimately, I just view Williams as the kind of guy that this market is going to value heavily, and that's been supported by public reports. I believe it was Andy Martino who reported about half the league is interested in Devin Williams. The Mets are very interested in Devin Williams, and he could go over there. I know the Dodgers have shown some interest, and I expect the Dodgers and Mets to be big players in this conversation. The Red Sox interested as well. Those are some pretty big teams who are willing to spend money to have Devin Williams on their roster, and that is because of the underlying metrics I just highlighted. A 2.68 FIP versus a 4.79 ERA. Teams are going to take the under, and they're going to confidently take the under on his ERA for 2026 at 4.79. They'll comfortably take the under. You'll see teams take the under at 3.0. So I do think with Devin Williams, a lot of people, when it comes to his market, are going to be thinking about the emotions they felt watching him pitch, the stress he brought them, and not about, objectively speaking, what you should get or what you should expect out of Williams in 2026. And you should expect a top 10 to 15 reliever for the 2026 season. That's at least what I think the data tells me. And I think that when you look at projections, he grades out as about a top 10 to 15 reliever in the sport. There's a reason why teams are super interested in going after him. There's a reason why the Yankees are still interested in a reunion. This guy is someone who is a swing and miss artist, and I think that the New York Yankees desperately need swing and miss in their bullpen, and Devin Williams solves that. Again, you look at a bullpen combination of David Bednar in the 9th and Devin Williams in the 8th, and you've got one of the best units in all of baseball. So I do think there's a lot of appeal for the Yankees there. Now, with Raisel Iglesias getting a 1-year, $16 million contract, I expect Williams to get similar money for 2026, around 1 year, $17 or $18 million for the upcoming season. If he wants to reset his market, we could see some multi-year offers from teams, but I do think it'll be a 1-year contract to allow him to reset his market and hit free agency once again. The only issue with that is that he would get the qualifying offer next year most likely, and that could hurt his market, but I don't think he's too worried about that because an elite closer is almost always going to have a market, even with that QO. Now, one key metric for Williams this past year that really hurt him was his left on base percentage. He had a 55.2% left on base percentage. In his career, that number was 81.8%. His career left on base percentage dropped from 81.8% to 75.8% because of this past season. That is not something that's sustainable. The league average left on base rate for pitchers is somewhere in that I think it's 72% range. And if you look at for relief pitchers, that number is 71.8%. So 72% roughly is the left on base average rate, and for Devin Williams, it's always been around 80%, so the fact it was under 60% is a pretty clear sign of, hey, this is going to improve in 2026 in all likelihood. But as we look at Devin Williams and as we look at the Yankee bullpen, the concerns I have with the Yankees bringing him back are not he can't perform well. It's more so the concerns I have at the idea of the Yankees bringing him back, their odds of them retaining Williams. First and foremost, the Yankees cannot offer Devin Williams a closing job. That is David Bednar's, and he earned that job, and I expect him to keep that job for 2026, so I do wonder if teams are going to have the ability to offer that closer job to him and lure him over at similar money to what the Yankees offer. Number two, the high AAV cost for 2026. Are the Yankees going to be willing to spend $18 million on a reliever after spending $22 million on Grisham and then going out there and acquiring an impact starting pitcher and another outfielder, whether that's Cody Bellinger or not? I'm not sure. Now, the Yankees could maybe be secretly planning to spend $380 million. I don't know, but I don't think that's going to happen. I do think their payroll is going to be more aggressive than in previous years. I think they're going to be more aggressive spending-wise than people thought at the at the start of the offseason, but to kind of offset, having a Trent Grisham, you need to have some cheaper relievers. There needs to be a compromise somewhere financially. Even if you're the Dodgers, if you're the Mets, there's somewhere where you're going to compromise financially. I think the bullpen is the logical place to do so. The bullpen is where the Yankees can get cheap players in the trade market and bring them in, and they can be impact guys. They don't have to be project guys. They can be impact guys who are just on arbitration salaries. Those kinds of players are the ones I expect the Yankees to target in the free agent market or on the trade market for relievers. I could be wrong. I'm just kind of spitballing. If they were to get Bellinger and an impact starter, that just seems like the logical route. Now, if the Yankees don't bring back Bellinger or don't get Imai, yeah, Devin Williams makes a ton of sense because you're going to be essentially replacing a high-money player with another high-money player, and this is in a position of need, which is the bullpen. So I think Williams is going to end up leaving. That's my guess because other teams can offer him a closer job. But I do believe the Yankees are going to have at least spirited conversations about trying to find ways to retain him because he's an impact piece. He's a very good reliever, and I'm sure the Yankees felt during the end of the year that he stepped up and became someone they could trust in New York. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Would you bring back Devin Williams? Do you think he should return to the New York Yankees, or should the Yankees just let him walk, let him go somewhere else, and where do you think he ends up going if he walks? We appreciate your continued support here on Fireside Yankees. Make sure you like and subscribe. Turn on that notification bell to get updates on our next uploads. And finally, check out our social media pages and our website. Socials are at Fireside Yankees on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, and of course this YouTube page. And for our written work, it's empiresportsmedia.com. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, everybody.